No, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Sheryl Swoopes is absolutely livid. She confidently claimed that Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever wouldn't be able to land top free agents, and yet that's exactly what happened. Now, Cheryl's looking like a psychic fail while Indiana pulls off what can only be described as a super team. Someone should check in on her. She might need a break. Let's dive into how Indiana aced free agency while Swoopes takes the biggest L.
So will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now? Immediately? Absolutely not. Not gonna happen.
Okay. Not on the right team?
Sheryl Swoopes was wrong, again. At this point, it's becoming a bit of a recurring theme. Let's take a step back. Sheryl Swoopes is a Hall of Famer and a legend in her own right. But let's be real, she's also a full-time critic with all the benefits. Miss, I know everything about the WNBA, confidently declared that the Indiana Fever would never land top-tier free agents. Fast forward to today, and let's just say Sheryl is probably somewhere eating her words because, guess what? The Indiana Fever are out here making moves like a Silicon Valley startup.
What it do, peeps? Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave. Stephanie White came in and said, okay, hold up. Let me go to Indeed.com and Indeed get some free agents to come in here that want to play, that are accomplished, seasoned veterans. She did all that. Cheryl's been nowhere to be found. Sheryl got a lot of crow to eat, folks. Sheryl could be choking on crow right now. She need that Heimlich maneuver. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, tell her it's okay to come out and talk and say, man, you was wrong. It's okay.
I bet Sheryl was sitting back thinking, there's no way these players are going to Indiana. But guess what? The contracts are signed, the jerseys are printed, and the critics are left in complete disarray. And let's not forget, this is the same Sheryl Swoopes who insisted Caitlin Clark would need years to adjust to the WNBA, as if Caitlin wasn't out here dropping 40-point games like she's been in the league for years.
Fever fans are already becoming huge fans of Natasha Howard, and that is something that I've talked about in previous videos. The Indiana Fever are that golden destination, and I can't help but laugh to the fans and the people online and the media commentators, unfortunately, who said that nobody wanted to play in Indiana. That doesn't make any sense.
Let's be real. The level of hate for Caitlin Clark is almost a sport in itself at this point. If there was a podium for Caitlin Clark haters, Sheryl would be taking home the gold, silver, and bronze, standing up there looking salty while the national anthem plays. Oh, she's not going to translate to the WNBA. Well, tell that to the Fever, who've been out here collecting talent like it's Pokemon Go in 2016.
If we say her stats are today, what? 20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But
That's crazy.
5.6
those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Yeah, it's only not dominating because she's a rookie.
Now, if
she's putting up numbers like Asia right now, would she be dominating?
Yes.
So it's a...
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark steps onto the court with unmatched skill and confidence. While some veterans seem uneasy, it's clear she didn't wait for permission to take the spotlight. She seized it and claimed it for herself.
Went even further when a game that Sheryl Swoopes was calling for the Dallas Wings, where the commentator was talking about how great Caitlin Clark had been playing. Sheryl Swoopes, silent for 60 seconds, didn't even want to address it. And it got so bad that the game that Dallas then went to play against the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark, after the domination of the Chicago Sky, Sheryl Swoopes got pulled from the fucking broadcast.
And that drives them crazy. Caitlin Clark has more national recognition than half the league, and that's just what happens when you're a generational talent. While others are focused on hate, Caitlin is collecting accolades, selling out arenas, and helping the Indiana Fever build something special. The disrespect they got before her arrival was wild, but now the Fever are signing free agents, and those old takes? They're about to be erased. Caitlin's rise is real, and the Indiana Fever slander is officially done.
Pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have Cece and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi and the MAGA Barbie, and isn't Katie Lou still on your team too? So I mean, shout out to the Indiana Fever, but it's clear that this is a scheme that Todd set up to get Cece a ring.
Fast forward to today, and guess what? Danana Boner's back, Natasha Howard's in, Sydney Colson's ready to hoop, and Sophie Cunningham's ready to fight for her team. So, Cheryl, what happened to players not wanting to go to Indiana? Real players are signing with the Fever like it's a 5-star resort. Did she think they'd have to beg? Who looks at Caitlin Clark, a rising team, and a fan base that treats games like Bianca concerts and says, nah, I'll struggle elsewhere. Be serious.
The Fever. And by the way, every single narrative about the Fever is like whatever about them signing Sophie Cunningham, who they don't like. They love DeWanna Bonner. Like, these people, they signed DeWanna Bonner. And again, they were saying, like, we have actual people working for networks being like, DeWanna Bonner will never sign for the Fever for obvious reasons. And I'm like, what are the obvious reasons? Genuinely, what are the obvious reasons? They are basketball players.
Somebody check on Cheryl. She might still be stuck in 2002. The Fever aren't what they used to be. This isn't Tamika Catchings carrying a roster of role players. The Indiana Fever are stacked now. Natasha Howard is a champion and a light scorer. Sophie Cunningham brings the attitude and energy the team needs, and Sydney Colson, she's got the locker room chemistry on lock.
Indiana Fever are officially title contenders. Every day they have something new for us in free agency. And today it's Miss DeWanna Bonner. 6-time WNBA All-Star and WNBA champ, a veteran in this game, can pretty much do it all. Also an enforcer, nasty defense. Should I continue? We have a new starting 5. Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, DeWanna at the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, and Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
Cheryl really thought she was making a big point on that podcast, acting like it was major news. In reality, she just hurt her own credibility. But honestly, are we surprised? Cheryl has a history of questionable takes. If there was a Hall of Fame for bad opinions, she'd be a first ballot pick. What's next? Is she going to say Caitlin Clark isn't a top talent or Angel Reese is the best? At this point, we can't trust anything she says. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever are looking like a real contender, and the players Cheryl claimed wouldn't consider the team are now all in.
Doesn't make any sense by any stretch of the imagination. In what way would you not want to play in Indiana? The place where you're getting sold out arenas, the most viewership on television, playing with a player who was top 3 in MVP voting as a rookie, who clearly elevates her teammates around her. She scores a lot, but she is also dishing out the ball, able to elevate everyone around her. Why wouldn't you want to be in that system?
Have you seen the rest of my teammates? There will still be cake this year. I already got the design.
This is one of the weakest teams there has been. This is genuinely one of the weakest, sorry, not weakest teams in comparison to other teams that could win a championship. Like, this team is not as good as the Chicago Sky 2021. They have one better player, but that might be it. Chicago Sky 2021 was at least deep.
Yeah, so, Asia.
Nah, this is tough.